Hello, this is Mackenzie again. Now I'm going to talk about Chapter 2, the critical thinking part of the chapter. And the first question is identify stereotypes associated with a group of people such as older adults or people with physical disabilities. When from experience of watching people create stereotypes for elderly people, a lot of people think that elderly people are stupid or slow, or they don't know how to work anything that's in our time, or they're not good for voting or whatever. I think that's kind of immature to say because people that are old are obviously going to think differently than people that are my age because their brains were created or evolved in different ways because they had different situations and they didn't have to adapt to technology and the sort of things that we have to do today, which is why some old people are probably very racist also because they grew up in a time where they were taught to be racist, not because they were born racist, because racism wasn't ingrained in anyone's genetic genome or anything. It was taught. Prejudice is learned. Our education system does that very well. And another stereotype would be to be physically disabled, when a lot of people will say that these people are worthless. They should just die. Like if you're in a nursing home, you should just die. They're dirty. They're never going to be helpful. But we can't really do that either because everyone has a right to live a long and healthy life. They feel like living in a wheelchair is beneficial to them. They're absolutely able to do that. And that also has to do with their family. So I think that we need to learn both sides of every story before we are able to judge or create stereotypes for any group. In this question, particularly the people that are older adults or people with physical disabilities. I think that the major problem with older people is that they do have a lot of prejudice built up that they're teaching to their children, who then get that ingrained in them, and then those people teach prejudice to people below them, which is bad because we want to try to get rid of racism, which is going to be a hell of a long road. But I think it needs to start with the elderly people recognizing that they can't reflect back on what they were taught. They need to look outside the box. For the second question is, what social issues do you think are most likely to endanger hostility along racial and ethnic lines? And I think it is education and it is the media. Education, once again, is where we all learn prejudice. But, I mean, not necessarily. We could go to a really fab Montessori school or like a nature-connected Waldorf school or what have you. But you can also learn prejudice from your parents who learned it from their parents or education. And they'll teach it to you before you even get to preschool or pre-K or ROC, I think it's called. But we need to be taught how to not see people as different and to be able to see both sides of every situation. For example, the Sarah Haugham murder, how just because some people in the cross, just because they saw that it was two Hmong people that were involved in a gang, the Hmong gang, they killed Sarah Haugham for poor reasons. Obviously, any killing is kind of for a poor reason. No one should die. The community automatically said that all Hmong people are bad. That's immature and unknowledgeable. That right there is proving that people don't know how to learn both sides of every situation before they judge a person or a racial group, and I mean, it's known that all over the world people are equally as smart. All it has to depend on is opportunity, and history tells us that very clearly. And according to the contact hypothesis, which is in the book on page 51, if you need to know that, is when the interrationalist perspective stating that intergroup contact between people of equal status is in competitive circumstances will reduce prejudice. That being said, it just means that people with a wide variety of ethnicities, I hate the word race, a wide variety of ethnicities communicating and all coexisting, and sometimes they get in fights, obviously, but with respect of each other, they are creating a living space with less prejudice, which is completely necessary, and we need more of that. For question 3, it says, consider on television programs what you watch most. And in terms of race and ethnicity, how well do programs you watch tend to reflect diversity in the population in the United States? This can differ. For example, in those like family, ABC Family channels or whatever, I don't even have a TV, I don't really know channels that aren't in like the past 6 years. They can have primarily white people, and maybe a jail person will be black, or maybe a person like a labor worker will be black, like an unskilled labor worker will be black or Hmong or somewhere from South America, Peruvian maybe. People look at this is educating us to see that they're in the minority and that they're doing an unskilled job that white people would not do. It's kind of gross, very wrong. But this could also be very different, where some TV shows actually do focus on the minority, but they make it seem like it's a majority, even though this example that I'm thinking of is Jersey Shore or The Real World, where they, probably Jersey Shore the most, where they have many people of South American descent or Latino or Hispanic or Italians or something, where they're all basically very disgusting prostitutes, wearing very little clothing, swearing a lot, wearing their pants down to their ankles, having sex all the time. This isn't a very good stereotype for people to create, because I'm pretty dang sure every little kid watching that show that shouldn't be. I'm in a video. You have to get out. Oh. I'm talking on YouTube. Video. Hi, this is my mom. Stella. Yeah, okay. Hey. She wants to introduce the dog. Anyway, everyone talking on The Real World creates a horrible stereotype because of them wearing barely any clothing, being unknowledgeable and saying really stupid things, and often advocating for the majority, which is really bizarre. I think they get paid to do that, right? Or sleeping around, which is really disgusting, and Latino people aren't like that. I'm sure. Because people are equally as intelligent all over the world, as history states. It is clearly manipulated and acted on by the outside force of opportunity.